The mental narrative is the main theme that I've been working on since I began my therapy work already like 14 years ago. Is to work with understanding, with the first accessing, understanding and recognition of all the patterns that we have from our family, the roots of that, and by seeing the narrative, we're seeing the layers, we're seeing behind the layers, right? Like the current behind, which is those patterns, that trauma, all the information that we receive. From 0 to 7 years old, we are collecting, we're like sponges collecting information, ideas, beliefs, behaviors from our family that they also got from their family, from their parents. That's where we got this connection with the narrative, because we have, with the family, the transgenerational narrative, because whatever my parents are telling me, they also receive from their own parents. And this is what we get, right? Like the ideas, beliefs from them, from the culture, from school, from all the experiences that we had when we were growing up. The narrative is that. The narrative is the recollection of that information. Is the recollection of that information that you have that create like goggles, like the goggles that you're wearing, certain glasses that you're wearing to see the reality. The narrative is what you know, what you said, what you think, and how you say it, because it's super important to see that, right? Like sometimes I could say something that sounds positive but in a mean way, let's say. This is the narrative as well. So recognizing that narrative, seeing that narrative, connecting with that narrative is super important. Is the biggest and most important step to start like working on yourself. Is the big first step to work on realizing your behaviors, realizing the childhood trauma, realizing wounds, realizing repetitions. Because when you're talking, when you're expressing about yourself or others, you can see those wounds, right? If we take like one step back and we give ourselves a little bit of awareness, we can see it. We can see it there. We can see it in the message. We can see it when we wake up. What do you think about yourself when you wake up? How do you design your day? Do you even design your day? Are you already judging yourself, right? How do you encourage yourself? How do you celebrate your life? How do you judge yourself, right? If you lost something, if you lost a job, if you lost a person, if your relationship didn't work, how do you talk to yourself? How do you say it, right? Like if it's an encouraging word or a judging word, how this is coming? There, on a daily basis, we do that, right? Like there is when we can see the narrative. This is the most important part, to see the narrative, because then we see those points to work, those important like chief points, like okay, right, this is the way I talk to myself. And then what is behind that? Behind the narrative is always what we bring from the transgenerational world, right? Like how our parents believe and thought. So this is really important to see it. Being aware of the narrative is super important. As I said, it's a great first step, because it's regaining the power you have, the empowerment you have to take care of yourself. No more control, being in charge of yourself in terms of what you say and what you don't say, being in charge of your emotions, being in charge of your reactions. So the more you observe the narrative, the more you see the narrative, the more you can heal those wounds, right? The more you can see certain specific reactions you have that are connected with certain wounds. So then the job is complete, because when we work on the narrative, we go like deeper and deeper in layers to work on that trauma, repetition, wound, and then we can really like do like a complete work of changing and transformation. Understanding the narrative is an essential part of your personal process. There is no transformation if you don't take part on realizing the way you're talking to yourself and to others. Watch yourself, be aware of that, full awareness, full presence, and take responsibility of that. this is how we gain the empowerment. This is how you get back to claiming your individuality and breaking free from those repetitions and patterns. And you deserve that. Just connect with the narrative and be aware of it.